All right, quick tour. We'll start in the cabinet. This is a Hoya caudata, which is exciting. One, because it gets these beautiful, beautiful, like brick red leaves when you put it under highlight, and it's fuzzy, like it's soft like a kitten's ear. And it's also the first Hoya that I've gotten to give me flowers. They haven't opened yet, but that's the peduncle, which will open up and give me sweet scented flowers, apparently. This is one of my favorites in the cabinet. It's an Anthurium pedato radiatum, or fingers, because, you know. But I like anything that has these deep, like, lobed leaves. Back here is a fun little orchid. I really like the way it grows. So every year it's going to produce a new one of these, but it's going to have these leaves over top of it. And then later it'll shoot out flower stalks and I'll have big orange flowers. Like, this is an Alocasia cuprea, which I like because it looks like a turtle shell. The rest of this is mostly like propagations and stuff that I'm like getting ready to pot up into regular potting material. So like cuttings that are just finishing off rooting, but I think the orchid is there pretty much to stay. I also made this fun little fountain to keep the humidity up in it. The water is low right now, so I need to fill it up, but the water goes down. There's a tube that runs through all this and comes out the top. These are actually zinc salts. It looks like a fungal infection, but it's not. It's just metal from the metal cage in it that's reacting with the water. But it's got a couple plants growing on it, some moss. I really like it. Right. Next little area is going to be this shelf. This is like a plant shelf in the main area. I've got a Monstera Peru. This is some kind of Rhipsalis because jungle cacti are my favorite kinds of plants. Squirrelfoot fern. These just have really pretty leaves. These are called jewel orchids. And they, you can't really see it in the video, but the veins are like glittery. So it's like a super black, almost velvety background, and then the leaves are just, they shine. This is a pot of what I'm starting to think is Schefflera or umbrella tree. I bought it as a 4-inch, like not a 4-inch, a $4 pot, like 2 inches big, of just a bunch of seedlings that were crammed way too close together. And I was curious about what kind of seedlings they were, so I figured I'd buy it and grow it out, and I think it's umbrella tree, which is a little bit disappointing because I don't always do so well with umbrella trees. Right now there's also a few plants on the kitchen or on the dining room table because that's just what happens in the house. If there's a surface, a plant lands on it. But these are recent purchases. I got them from the Succulent Society sale, which was excellent. I've got another little green area here. Nothing too special. I've got another little propagation station up there. I've got to get another vase with some cuttings in it to balance out the look. But on the wall there's some Rhaphidophora tetrasperma and Philodendron Brazil that I'm using command hooks to let them climb up the wall without actually like sticking to the plaster. There's some more Hoyas down here. That's a Hoya linearis. This is a weird succulent cissus, which I really like. Over here is the area that we call the plant room. It's just sort of a little wing off our kitchen, but it's got this nice metanilla, which I'm super excited to see it bloom this year because the flowers are spectacular. A little syngonium that I bought mostly for the pot, but it's not dying. It came back to life. Here's a neat little begonia that I've had for about a year now. So it's got these really nice leaves. I didn't really know it got these nice leaves because when I got it, all of the leaves looked like this. Because the person who had it before me was keeping it in really high light. Apparently, if you give it just a little bit less light, it has some really nice coloration, and the silvery spots really, really sparkle. I'm a big fan of this. This is my curly lipstick plant. I hope it blooms for me this summer when I take it outside. But I like it because it's got, you know, her hair thing going on. Cute little Target planter. Here's another example of a begonia that used to get too much light. It used to grow all the leaves like this, and then now the leaves are just a lot greener and shinier, and they just look healthier. I got this nice little shelf I made in front of this window. This is a pot that I made myself, and it's got a little schismoglottis in it, which is growing really nicely. You can see the tag for the euphorbia that's right behind it. I think this is really cool because it's just now starting to poke out some new green growth for the season after being pretty much just those little stumps all summer, or all winter. Got a little fuzzy Tradescantia. This one is also really soft. I am not in love with this one. Like, it gets a lot of love on Facebook and Instagram and stuff, and so I got it because I was able to get a good deal on it. And I just keep trying to curl it up in the pot because it never grows full for me. So I'll just keep trying. I've got a lime tree that's trying to flower itself to death for the second time this winter. I plucked off all of the flowers at the beginning of winter because it had about this many leaves, and it just wanted to have flowers all over it. So I picked off all the flowers. I'm working on picking off these flowers, but only like, I'm not being as aggressive with it because it's going to be going outside soon and it'll be able to photosynthesize a little bit better, but some of the flowers have definitely got to go. It just doesn't have enough plant to support that. There's a little lemon tree over here on the other side, but it sort of grew all the way over here into the window, and it's flowering too, but it's doing a lot better and has a lot more leaves, so I'm just letting it do its thing. This is a coffee tree. Olive tree. This is one of the oldest plants in my collection. I got it at least 3 or 4 years ago, but it actually has grown a good deal for me, especially considering how little light it used to get at the condo. I'll cap this tour off real quick with my work area in the basement. That is an absolute wreck because all of my seedlings for the outside garden are taking up all of my space down here. But I do have a couple of really cool things down here that I want to show off. I've got this nice staghorn. I have 2 other staghorns as well. I have a problem with staghorns. They're really cool. But I'm going to mount this on something for the summer and see how it takes off. Here's a philodendron fuzzy petiole. You can see it gets its name because its petioles, which are the stems that hold up the leaves, have this little fuzz on them. That's kind of nice. This is a Cissus discolor, or a Rex begonia vine, and it gets these gorgeous, like, purple backed leaves with the pretty variegation. And I bought this as a 4-inch pot, and it was really long vines. And so I just took the vines and I wound them around this pot, and I stuck them down in with some wire so that the vines will start rooting and shoot up more growth, and it can be a nice full pot. This is all stuff that's going to be going outside and in the ground for the summer. I have just way too many elephant ears, but I'm going to do a whole big garden of them in the backyard along the fence. This is a vanilla orchid with a cute little D&D spider that I was given by a friend. This is a Florida ghost cutting. I also have a larger Florida ghost right here. You can see it's got some of that minty variegation on this leaf here. That'll be more apparent in the summer once it's outside for a while. I want you to get a lot of light, but I don't want you touching. This is a little humidity dome propagation jobby that I have. Oh man. This is a little baby seedling Philodendron Billietiae, and I think it's looking real nice. This is a Philodendron Splendid. Here is some Selaginella, which is one of my favorite kinds of moss. I have some carnivorous plants here. Not as many as I usually do. I just sold a few pots off. But I have, this is Drosera capensis, or Cape Sundew. These are a couple of different kinds of butterworts. You can see they're doing a really good job at taking care of all of the fungus gnats I have down here. And that's a Drosera filiformis. So it's similar to the capensis, but it has sticky pads all the way up the length of the leaf rather than just a little pad at the end. I can show you the project I'm working on right now because I need to get them out of the sink. Little Philodendron Goldii, which have recently been reclassified to be called Thematophyllum sprucianum. But you can see, like I was talking about earlier with the one anthurium, it's got the fingers that I really like. And as it gets mature, these just get more and more of the little leaflets, and this becomes sort of like a C shape, and it gets big. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that these plants continue to grow in age. But I have them in here because I got a pot of it and there were 3 in them and the pot was too small, so I just took all 3 out and put 1 back in, and now I have to deal with these other 2, and I just haven't yet. This is an experiment that I'm running this year that I'm really excited for. I took some plastic gutters, just like you would put on your house, and I put this mesh over it, and it's got the end cap, again, just for gutters. Filled it with moss and cocoa chips, and I've started using it as a way to grow plants. So this is a Monstera deliciosa cutting that I took, and rather than rooting it in water or moss or whatever, I just tied it to this, and it grew roots into it and is now putting out leaves. So that gives me some hope for the rest of these, because I have this Philodendron Ataba puense that's on one of these that I'd like to get really big. And this is an Anthurium balaoanum. You can see this is kind of velvety, like the sheen is really weird on the camera. And this is a Pereso Verde, which I'm really proud of. It's got some gorgeous variegation, and again, that's only going to get better once it's outside in the bright sun. This is a different Monstera cutting. It's not a Monstera deliciosa. This is actually a Monstera lechleriana, but I'm doing kind of the same thing. It had a couple of roots already when I put it in, but it has now put out this new growth here in the back, and it'll give me a new leaf pretty soon, and that's really exciting, because that's not one, or that's not a Monstera you see all the time. These are elderberry cuttings that I took. I say I took elderberry cuttings, but I really just needed to prune my bush, and I just stuck them in water. But you can see down here, these are little baby roots starting to form, so that I could just go ahead and shove these in the ground and have more elderberries. I think that's pretty much going to wrap it up for tonight's tour, but I have a ton more I can show off another day.